Pick your hero. Or villain. I'm not judging.
I will bring peace to this.
I'm not the type who fades quietly into the background.
You don't have to be a witch to find the magic in this world, but it does help. I may be powered by chaos, but
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
The time has come to call on ancient forces to aid us in this battle.
Oh, I always wanted to learn magic. Tippy Toe loves a good card trick.
The spells I have mastered are not for novices. They are fueled by pure chaos.
You want pure chaos?
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
We'll do this the same way we always do. Together.
Anyone willing to help?
Feeling stronger already.
I suck! You are under my spell!
Looks like the mission area is yours to capture now.
This should help me heal.
A disappearing.
I can be more reckless now. Feeling good.
Reborn from the... Be right there.
They captured the mission area!
I should be singing lullabies.
Uh-oh, we don't look friendly.
Now, a disappearing.
Those boys are on ice. Need some help. Get ready to do some damage. I suck.
That's better.
Goodbye.
Anyone willing to help?
I swear they will.
Be right there.
I suck.
They've summoned good medicine.
Their team's capture progress has passed
Won't
the
make the
halfway
same
point.
mistakes again.
Goodbye.
Tippy Toe spotted.
My friends are
I like the
here!
cold feeling stronger already.
Those squids are on ice. Let me guess. Your Namor's friends?
My work here is not done.
They've almost got it!
A nice deep freeze.
Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man!
It's the grand finale!
Feeling stronger already.
Your Namor.
Now, a disappearing.
Disappear!
I've watched entire realities consumed by chaos. I won't let that happen again.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
Even the astral realms are torn apart by the time stream entanglement.
Who better to put them back together than you and me?
I like your optimism.
This spot gives me a strange feeling.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1! All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
Part of me just wants to get back home, but I know I'm needed here. See them? Right there!
Creatures risen from a realm below.
Limitless magic! A little death.
气贯长虹。
Goodbye. For now.
Looks like the mission area is yours to capture.
Maximum pulse!
Mission area is yours!
A nice deep freeze.
Control lost!
My work here is not done.
I'm opening a portal.
Feel the pull.
A shortcut through space.
A nice deep freeze.
Chaos control! And so it begins, feeling stronger and
Comes
strange.
behind us. Nobody can stand up against a full-strength star.
Double KO!
Magical.
Control C!
A little help, please.
Didn't see that coming.
I am strengthened for battle.
Reborn from the chaos. Now, a disappearing act.
Take a look behind you.
Be right there.
I unleash the Vishanti's power.
My friends are here!
I purge the darkness
Keep capturing half of the mission area. Keep going.
by
My
Doctor
work here is
Strange.
not done. Now, a disappearing act.
I'm hulking. Maximum pulse!
Control lost!
Disappearing I won't make the same mistakes again. Goodbye for now.
Their team's capture progress has passed the halfway point. Disappear!
I am strengthened for battle.
Their pits are
My fate isn't sealed yet. Goodbye for now.
气贯长虹。
I'm hulking.
They've almost got it!
Your fate is sealed. That really helps. Invisible? My goodbye for now.
Well, you can't expect to win them all. pick your hero. Or villain, I'm not judging.
You don't have to be a witch to find the magic in this world, but it does help. You don't have to be a witch to find the magic in this world. You don't have to be a witch to find the magic in this world, but it does help. Magneto raised me to never stop fighting for what I believe is right.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready. The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
I left the beaches of Krakoa for this. Ugh.
And so it begins.
Follow the enemy!
Looks like the mission area is yours to capture now.
Destroy these ops as soon as you see them.
Under my spell.
Look behind you.
Whoa, these kids are dangerous. I'll patch you up.
That really helped.
The mission area is yours.
Chaos control.
The moon haunts you. Hey, Diddy! I'm an easy target.
Double KO.
A disappearing. The arc has been removed from play. Turn around, you fool! You're not going anywhere!
That's what I needed.
My work here. Goodbye. For now.
Step down!
You've captured more than half of the mission area. Keep going. Us against the world! Control lost!
They're welcome.
Be careful, you're an enemy. Found one of the
Double KO!
A disappearing. Moonlight's mysticism was no match for mine.
Impervious!
It seems we're outnumbered. My fate now, a disappearing.
Control lost!
That should limit Moon Knight's power. Trouble has arrived.
You were under my spell.
I'll patch you up.
Feeling stronger already.
Assemble!
Careful! No! Like the others. Wait, isn't he the guy who was supposed to solve all this? Someone scratch my back!
Goodbye. For now.
Look up behind you! Their team's capture progress has passed the halfway point.
Goodbye.
Over here!
This should help me heal. Be right there. One Moon Knight's out. Feeling stronger already.
It ain't cheap.
They've almost got it!
It's essential to our efforts.
Us against the world!
How do you like that, Conchu?
One of these weird
A
keys.
disappearing.
We'll have to keep fighting until we have a winner. Glory's almost yours!
Now, a disappearing act.
The moon hawkers.
That really helped.
You'll have to keep fighting until we have a winner.
Those guys are about to shoot at us.
Pride of the neighborhood.
Chaos surrounds us, but I will gladly show it who is in control.
Seconds before you attack. Get ready.
I was thinking, all spider people are connected to a spider totem.
Yeah?
Yeah, so I wonder if there are, like, raccoon totems.
Ha! My totem is a gun. Also, what's a raccoon?
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
It's like a fairy tale, complete with an evil usurper.
Be right back.
Follow the enemy.
Help! So cold.
I've located a nest of synthetic spiders.
Looks like the mission area is yours to capture now.
Under my spell.
Ah, that's better.
The mission area is yours.
A disappearing.
Watch out!
This location is worth observing.
Goodbye. Crawl back to your domain.
You're welcome. Take the bad guy. Trouble has arrived.
This lamp looks priceless. I must have it.
Help!
Keyhole. Problem solved.
Us against the world!
Break the chaos. Feeling stronger
You
already.
captured more than half of the mission area. Keep going. Double KO!
Crawl back to your domain. Chaos control. Now, a disappearing.
You get away! You get away! You get away!
The keyholes are more dangerous if there's more than one.
The area's almost yours!
You're not going anywhere.
I can heal you. Get out of here.
Feeling stronger already. Moonlight on has been dealt with.
It's Spider Time!
A disappearance.
You'll have to keep fighting until we have a winner. Control lost!
Under my spell.
Hey, Teeny, enjoy the amplifier.
That's me. Spider nest, watch out!
Some more spiders to worry about.
Goodbye.
Control these! You'll have to keep fighting until we have a winner.
I am much better now. We both found us.
Another epic victory! Big win!
"100 migrants arrested in Colorado nightclub. What's this about?" Whoa. Oh my goodness. Look at all those people.
You see all the people streaming out of the club there. It's a big operation. It included some 300 law enforcement officers from at least 10 federal agencies. In addition to the illegal immigrants, the DEA says more than a dozen active duty U.S. service members were also detained, some of whom were said to be working security. The agency also says the club has been linked to gang members from Tren de Aragua and MS-13. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi posted.
Wow. So here you've got this underground nightclub where a whole bunch of stuff is going on that shouldn't be going on, and you've got everybody there. Some of these look like normal people, but apparently you also had service members here who were doing security for this place. Something strange is happening.
Arresting 114 illegal immigrants, some of them with serious criminal records. The numbers here stand out to me. What stands out to you regarding this?
Everything.
Well, yeah, the numbers are incredible, but this is the second club that the DEA has raided since January with a large number of illegal immigrants. This operation was very well planned, very well coordinated by multiple agencies. It was not leaked, which is great because we had a leaked operation.
So you can see here they've got DEA, they've got the Postal Inspector Police right here. They've got 300 different law enforcement people involved in this massive takedown. And what this shows you is these gangs, if you go to a club somewhere and there's something happening at that club, it could be related to gang activity. And these criminals could be doing all kinds of illegal stuff in these places. So look at how heavily armed this soldier is right here. He's got multiple weapons, he's got body armor, and he's by a massive armored vehicle. These guys that came to this club to raid it, and all these law enforcement people, they had no idea what was waiting for them on the other end of this. The people inside could have been incredibly dangerous. Here's some pictures of the club after the raid. They're saying Tren de Aragua is involved in this. That's that super dangerous gang that took over those apartments in Colorado and also out here in New York. Very frightening. But apparently this wasn't an accidental raid. This was a long-term investigation, and ICE and all these other law enforcement agencies knew who they were after.
And this has been a long-term investigation. Now, federal officials did undercover work, and they conducted surveillance for months to identify what was going on.
We seized quite a number of guns and took a number of people into custody. As a result of this operation is that Colorado Springs is waking up to a safer community today.
So the government was inside this club. They knew that these people were armed. When they took them down, they had weapons. And this was going on for months, apparently.
Rocky Mountain Field Division Special Agent in Charge Jonathan Pullen says significant drugs and crimes of violence were happening inside the nightclub located near Airport Road and South Academy Boulevard.
This is hot couture.
Officials made entry just before 4 this morning. ICE, one of the agencies, a part of that operation, taking dozens of people into custody.
We had over 100 illegal aliens inside as well, and those over 100 illegal aliens were taken into custody by ICE.
Pullen says more than a dozen active service members were in the club during the operation, and they were involved in some of the crimes, either as patrons or working as armed security.
Oh, interesting. So this was the kind of place that was put on a legitimate front by hiring service members to help keep it safe. But all of the activities going on inside this place were illegal, and that was sucking in the general public into this cesspool, dragging them down with it. Nice to know.
Obviously concerning to have active duty military involved. We're working with our partners at Army CID on that piece. Obviously where we are here in the Springs, there's a lot of military bases here, so it's not necessarily surprising, but we're going to take that very seriously.
Federal officials say the nightclub was frequented by Trinidad and Aragua, MS-13, and Hell's Angels, but they could not confirm if any members were involved with the arrest.
The message is we're not going to stand for this criminality in our city.
This was dragging down the entire area. Having a place like this existing, it looked so legitimate. You had people going in here thinking that everything that was going on was above the board and possibly okay. And even if they knew it was illegal, the fact that opportunities for being criminal behavior are open to a massive executioner! It's disgusting, but the number of law enforcement involved tells you that things like an open border and illegal immigration pose a great danger to our country. This took a small army.
After this massive operation took place overnight, now what we know is more than 300 federal law enforcement officers arrived here. Again, we're in fact in Colorado. We're directly satellite right now to give you an idea of just exactly we do know that there were a couple of other people that were also detained for having state warrants as well. And you certainly mentioned the military presence. Perhaps one of the most shocking, stunning details this morning that we were hearing is about a dozen active duty military members that were here overnight in this underground nightclub. And they were saying how they are now being referred over to the Army Criminal Investigations Division. But we do not know if they are active duty service members stationed at Fort Carson. Certainly, we know that Army CID is investigating.
So here's a big problem that not too many people are talking about with this. And what that is these gangs who are running this stuff and who are in the criminal underworld and are landing down there and they're getting away with all kinds of stuff. That's just going to empower them. And that's just going to keep their operations going in this country for a lot longer than any of us want. And that makes it harder for ICE to stamp these guys out because what do they do with all this money? They use it to get apartments, they use it to get fake identification, they use it to get weapons and make themselves more dangerous. They just use it to further embed themselves in our society and hide out something that nobody wants.
But when we were speaking with a special agent in charge with the DEA, this is one of the things he talked about when we were specifically focusing on the illegal immigrants and this big investigation. Take a listen.
These crimes go hand in hand, right? When we find trafficking, unfortunately, we're finding a lot of illegal aliens. 200 people in this club, weapons,
30
over
seconds
half the
before
people
you
inside
attack.
were illegal.
And also, here's a look at just what the scene looked like when we arrived. We showed up around 3 o'clock this morning, and it was a really active.
So now we know why hundreds of law enforcement agents showed up. Half the people in this club shouldn't even have been in America. That's ridiculous. And I'm going to guess that this place probably had a massive reputation that the entire area knew about, but didn't want to say too much about it, if you know what I mean.
3, 2,
more than 200 people were inside of this
All you need to do
underground
is capture the
club.
mission
And as I
area.
mentioned,
Got it?
about 300 just federal law enforcement officers here. So that just goes to show you such a big response here. Things are certainly a lot quieter right now compared to when we first arrived at 3 o'clock this morning. But a big response here, and the special agent in charge saying that this is certainly important as they are taking a look at some of the criminal activity. And they also mentioned that there were other parts of the city that was on the missionary this morning. We'll continue to follow up.
In other parts of the city, well, this isn't just an isolated
jury, executioner!
Who's orders who says, oh, this stuff's not happening anywhere, it's not a big deal, this is just isolated incidents. No, this type of gang activity is happening all over the place. And you know something? The folks that are being trafficked into these situations, they, in many cases, may have come here unaffiliated with some sort of gang, but because these Trende Aragua members are running these places, what do? They're human exploiters. We see their behavior all over New York City, where they've got people kneeling down on the sidewalk, selling stolen tools out of suitcases that came from Home Depot.
Game's coming in too.
Be down there doing what they don't work at all because New York is putting them for a luxury hotel. No, these people are being forced to do things against their will because they came into this country illegally, and all they can do is turn to the criminal underworld because committing a crime makes you part of that underworld. But now the question on a lot of people's mind, what's going to happen to the service members that are involved in this? That's a big deal.
Active duty service members helping as security. Can you elaborate on that at all?
Their team's capture progress is past the halfway
We had over a dozen active duty service members in the club tonight, either as patrons or working as
As your name suggests, Frost.
Disappear!
So RCID was one of our partners out here, and they're going to work with us on what the next steps for those active duty services look like.
So what probably happened here is you have this night here, which has a physical address, and it's on the side of the road, and it's in this massive building. They put up an ad for security, and as we already heard, there's a lot of military personnel.
By the eye of Agamotto!
Some of those folks invariably get legitimate jobs working for this place where they had to do employment verification, and now they're here as armed security, which gives this club a legitimate facade and show off to the entire world. And how do the troops that were found at this club possibly engaging in activities that they shouldn't have been in? Well, they found out about this place because of the troops
Regroup.
who work there.
Push
and
together.
who know about it. They probably said, yeah, hey, this is a military-friendly establishment. Feel free to come by. The people working there may have thought everything's fine, but then under the surface, there's other stuff going on that it really isn't. That's the gang.
We estimate over 200 people were inside the nightclub.
Plug outgoing.
Judge, jury, executioner!
What was going on in this place when they decided to raid it. Looking at it, months, they got 300 officers together to raid a club of 200 people, 100 of which should not have been in America at all to begin with. But the most fascinating part about this whole raid was that it wasn't leaked. We saw stuff like this getting leaked to the entire world before it happened just a few months ago, but not anymore. Look at this. Two of the ICE leakers who disclosed operations previously were punished. These people were caught, they're being prosecuted. These were people who leaked previous plans that ICE had to go out and arrest people who shouldn't be in the country. They're putting everybody in danger, they're putting the community in danger because they allow criminals to escape. Had this raid at this club been leaked, you'd have had criminals who are still out there, gang members plotting to do these things in other parts of the country potentially, or at other businesses, still controlling their incomes and keeping tabs on them. That's not what we want in America at all. Look at this. Previous leaks to the news media have involved raids in Los Angeles and Aurora, Colorado, where those apartment buildings were taken over by this exact same gang, this Tren de Aragua. That's ridiculous. And the most unbelievable thing to me is how people can think that by helping criminals like the people in this picture right here escape makes the country a better place. I understand that people in their minds think that if somebody's here illegally, they're automatically innocent of everything and they haven't done anything wrong. And if ICE comes and takes that person away, ICE has done something wrong. But we know that these are criminals. We know that these people are running all kinds of illegal operations out of nightclubs, and that's a bad thing. What do you think about that? Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.
After attempting a takeover at Trump Tower, some protesters had to be carried out by cops. Roughly 100 people arrested for storming the building, demanding the release of Mahmoud Khalil from immigration detention.
So a massive protest erupted right here at Trump Tower after ICE arrested a Columbia University student activist. And while the protesters claim this is a violation of free speech, the Trump administration is promising to revoke the visas and green cards of non-citizen agitators who embrace views contrary to America's values. Which means anyone who's a guest in this country while simultaneously hating it might not be here for that much longer.
Which hero do you think you want to be today?
One thing you can always count on with Disney, if there's an IP out there with even a hint of gas left in the tank, they will ride that thing until the wheels fall off. And probably keep going for several more miles, leaving a trail of sparks and flaming wreckage in their wake. And two of the biggest IPs to fall under their dark influence during the Fox merger were Aliens and Predator, both icons of pop culture that boast at least, 2 good movies each. And well, we've already seen how that turned out for Aliens.
Get away from her. Bitch.
Predator, though, is a bit more complicated. The surprise success of Prey on Disney Plus, and damn man, they must have regretted not giving that one a theatrical release, seems to have convinced them that there's plenty more mileage to be gotten out of the Predator franchise. And so, the floodgates have opened and the sludge is in full flow. Case in point, Predator Badlands, an upcoming standalone movie from Dan Trachtenberg, the same guy who directed Prey. The first teaser dropped a few days ago and everyone was abuzz about one thing.
Pick your hero. Or villain. I'm not judging.
Okay, look, I know that appearances can be deceptive and sometimes the VFX are a bit unfinished in shots like this and blah blah blah. But holy shit, was this a mistake? How is it that a high-profile movie made in 2025 somehow looks less convincing than a mid-budget sci-fi action flick from the 1980s? I mean, just take a moment to look at the original Predator from 1987. Look how much detail there is here. Look at the droplets of water on its skin, the complex markings and patterns across its face, the deep-set eyes that are barely visible, the jaw mandibles moving and twitching, the long tentacles hanging down around its head. It's an incredible piece of creature design and complex animatronics that's just as iconic and alien and terrifying as the xenomorphs were. Then look at old Lumpy here from Badlands. It looks like something that just wandered in from the set of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. The skin's all rubbery and out of focus. There's no surface detail or droplets of water or smears of dirt or anything at all to indicate that this thing is actually physically present. Also, why in the name of holy fuck does it have a side shave? I mean, you understand that those things growing out of the side of the Predator's head aren't actually hair that can be cut and styled like human hair, right? Showing it in broad daylight was also the worst possible decision because every visual flaw and shortcoming is exposed for the whole world to see. Look, I'm under no illusions about the original prosthetic either, right? There's a very obvious reason why movie monsters like this and xenomorphs are usually shown in darkness. All those shadows and faded moonlight have tight moving parts, disguise the fact that it's basically just a stuntman in a rubber suit and make the whole thing look a whole lot more intimidating than it probably was. That's fine, it's part of the magic of filmmaking and it worked. Filmmakers back then understood visual limitations of the tools they were working with and found ways to enhance them instead of undermining them. Anyway, I digress. Let's talk about the trailer itself. The plot, as far as I understand it, is that a young predator has been banished from his homeworld for being retarded or something and ends up on some remote planet where he teams up with a Weyland-Yutani android to take down the biggest, baddest monster in the area to prove himself worthy of a place amongst his own people again. In a nutshell, the Predator is now the protagonist of the movie this time around.
The whole strategy pays off for him.
I mean, I'll at least give the Predator doing something a bit different with this one. There's only so many times you can pick out the guys with guns against those Predators and kill them off one by one while they slowly come to grips with the enemy that they're facing. And conceptually, it's a neat idea to mix things up a little and flip the dynamic here. I'm just not entirely convinced that an 8-foot tall monster whose entire vocabulary consists of is the kind of protagonist the audiences are likely to get behind. Also, and this could be just a personal thing, but I'm not sure I want to know more about the Predators as a species. I don't really want to know
This is real firepower!
Or how they interact with
Us against the world!
This
is real firepower!
Larger events and more complex social structure, but we were still mostly kept in the dark about them, and that was unquestionably a good thing. As I've said many times, tremble before fast! Compelling than any answer the filmmaker could give. Just ask Ridley Scott. The attempt to merge this movie with the Alien franchise is another red flag for me, because every time these two IPs have tried to crossbreed, the results have ranged from mediocre slop to painfully bad to downright baffling. The connection here is Thea, a Weyland-Yutani android from an unknown time period. Bring all the It's too early to tell what the confidence story is. By the eye of Agamotto! Predator movie, or God help us, an entire cinematic universe of this crap.
Oh man! Oh God! Oh man!
The one point of light at the end of the tunnel here is Dan Trachtenberg, who's pulling writing and directing duties this time around after his work on Prey. That movie might not have been perfect, but it was a decent stab at doing something slightly different with the Predator franchise, and although I think people cut it way more slack than it probably deserved, it was still miles better than the loose collection of lazy callbacks and cheap nostalgia bait that we got in Alien Romulus. The reason I bring all this up is that Prey also suffered from a pretty underwhelming trailer that people were quick to dismiss as a typical Disney film sludge fest, only for the movie itself to turn out way better than expected. So I don't want to break parallels off us against the world! Franchise, but man, I think it's about time we accepted that we're never going to recapture the magic of the 1987 original, and anything we get now is just a tailorization of stuff that's already been done far better. But trust me, as long as there's anything remotely left to be built out of this franchise, Disney will find a way to make it happen. Oh yeah, and just a heads up that we're down to the last few days on our Kickstarter campaign for Trial by Fire. The response has been absolutely amazing, and we've raised over £250,000 already.
Those
and
guys
now
are
that we're
about
on
to
the
shoot
home
at
straight,
us.
we're pushing hard to reach as many of these stretch goals as possible. I know everyone's already been super generous, but if you're still thinking about becoming a backer, then now is probably the time to act. As always, the link is in the description, and I'll leave the rest up to you. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
They've almost got it!
Every single year, video game companies try to find new and devious ways to ensure they can nickel and dime their customers for more and more money in creative and oftentimes baffling ways. This all sort of started because Bethesda decided to charge money for Horse Armor one time, and since then, many other video games have become, let's be real, online casinos pretty much. At this point, buying into most games, especially from the largest franchises like Call of Duty or Fortnite, often comes with the expectation realization that if you want the most out of your experience now, you'll need to keep your wallet open at all times. And not only is this mentality killing creativity in the industry, it's causing what I could only call predatory behavior on the behalf of modern game companies. Thankfully, at least one company is trying to push back against this tsunami of monetization, which is Steam. Let me get you all up to speed. We all know what Call of Duty is. The latest game in the franchise is Black Ops 6, which is also considered to be the fastest selling Call of Duty yet in the entire franchise, if you can believe it. The fact we got 6 of these games is kind of insane. Call of Duty is now entering number digits in the way Final Fantasy games chronicle this. That's crazy, but anyway. And Black Ops 6 is also a fully priced game that a lot of people bought, and it made tons of money and features a full campaign, multiplayer, zombies, and integration with Warzone like other games like it. Look, I don't need to tell you that Activision Blizzard is greedy, like really greedy. They put people like Scrooge McDuck to shame with how much money hungry these executives are over them. But where Activision's Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is serving up a piping hot plate of microtransaction madness, it's kind of gotten to the point of parody now. And Steam is finally stepping in to say, hold up, you can't lie to your customers anymore, and how Steam is going to war with Activision Blizzard, and hopefully the rest of the industry to stop this incoming invasion, and could maybe, hopefully, sway the tides of this monstrous, thunderous crash of greed that is set to consume all of modern gaming in the process. So let's start with Call of Duty Black Ops 6, released in October 2024. This Treyarch and Raven Software joint is a spy thriller set in the early 90s, complete with a mind-bending campaign, slick multiplayer, and a zombies mode that's got us all screaming pack-a-punch at 3 a.m. And the big selling point of it all is Omni movement. You can now sprint, dive, and slide in any direction, making you feel like John Wick if John Wick was stuck in a Nuketown 24/7 lobby with sweaty tryhards. And critics are calling the game a return to form. I hate that term, but they are saying that, with EG247 saying that it's the most confident Call of Duty in years. And I'll give credit where it's due. The gunplay is buttery smooth, the maps are solid for the most part, and the campaign's got more twists than an M. Night Shyamalan fever dream. But here's the catch. Activision's monetization is like the zombie horde. It's relentless, shameless, and coming for your wallet no matter what you do. And then you enter the Black Cell Battle Pass, which has store bundles that cost more than a steak dinner, and a progression system that feels like it's laughing at you while you grind. And now, Steam's had enough of Activision's shenanigans, and they're holding them accountable, finally. One of the ways that Black Ops 6 swindles you into spending money is actually creative, I gotta admit. So Activision Blizzard has implemented a system into Black Ops 6 where when a player with a cool loadout or skin beats you in a game, that during the kill cam you're able to actually save their loadout. And no, I'm not kidding. Here's this article from Discover.tv titled Call of Duty players may now wishlist Black Ops 6 weapon designs via kill cam. The gist of this system is that Activision Blizzard has implemented systems years in the making to make you, the player, jealous of what other players are using. This is the actual reason why there's kill cams in the game still. Sure, you could argue it's meant because you're able to see how you messed up, or find out where your enemy is shooting you from so you can circle back in your respawn and then hunt them down. But the real reason is to show you those slick weapons other players bought, and then showcase them to you, the player, to entice you into buying that very weapon bundle yourself. You may think that I'm lying, and Lord knows I wish I was, but sadly I have the proof to show it to you. As seen here from this post from Charlie Intel, in the bottom right of this image you can see how you can hold down Y on your controller to wishlist the blueprint of the weapon that just ended you in Black Ops 6 multiplayer. This is designed to entice you, the player, who doesn't have this blueprint, to want the same gun that the other player is using to end you likely multiple times in that match. And actually, the more that you die to that player with their unique store bundle blueprint, that's actually by design in Activision Blizzard's eyes. Because by you dying over and over again, well, it also means you're going to be staring at that kill cam quite often, won't you? And it's also by design that Activision Blizzard ensures that you can see the very gun and its name that killed you alongside the attachment and the shiny, beautiful skin on the gun that did it in motion. Ooh, look at that gun. Isn't it a nice looking gun? Don't you wish you had that gun for yourself? Then maybe you could be the one shooting others effortlessly with your very own custom gun that has specific attachments that makes that gun a beast to use in the first place. Oh, if only you had some money on you right now. What's that? Your credit card is attached to your account? Well, Well, dear customer, how would you like to know by a simple button press we can save that gun that just killed you, and then you can get portaled over to the store to buy the very gun with the very attachments and the skins that the other players was just using to ruin your fun with. And boom, just like that, Activision Blizzard just secured themselves another $10 to maybe $20 because they effectively monopolize not only your fear of lowering your kill-death ratio, but your fear of missing out too. I want to do that with Call of Duty as well. It's only $15. I mean, it can't hurt that much, can it? Oh, and I can use that gun bundle in Warzone. Well, maybe if I use that gun bundle, I can win some Battle Royale matches too. Yeah, that'll show my enemies how good I am at the game. Yeah, you know what? I am gonna buy this bundle now. And now the player who is dying with their dinky non-store bundle gun is now playing the game, shooting and killing other players with their shiny new bundle gun instead, showing off that brand spanking new death machine to other players now who too are not spending money to buy bundles. And if you think about it, in a way, as dystopian as it sounds, every time you pull the trigger in Call of Duty now, you're technically advertising for Activision Blizzard for every kill that you get. And now every other user that gets ended by you gets to see your loadout and your unique skin that you spent your hard-earned money on too. So in a way, every match of Black Ops 6 isn't really about who's the better team. That doesn't matter to Activision Blizzard anyway, because the teams you're fighting are usually already paired with you due to your skill levels anyways. And we already know that games like this, Marvel Rivals and more, all use skill-based matchmaking to make this happen, which is designed to ensure that your win-loss ratio hovers perfectly around the 50-50 rate almost all of the time. Notice how whenever you're doing well in a multiplayer game these days, the lobbies tend to get harder and sweatier every single time you win. You start the day feeling normal, but suddenly you're in a match with the unemployed Monster Energy drinkers, and now you're getting curb stomped like you're an extra in American History X. Yeah, guys, it's all done by design, just like everything else in these sorts of multiplayer games, to keep you winning just enough so that you don't leave or refund the game, but losing just enough too so that the other people playing don't leave either. And you're all shooting and competing against one another, each with your own unique weapon loadouts, sometimes with unique skins or store bundles that you bought, and suddenly you realize in a cynical but realistic way that this isn't really a game of skill anymore, is it? No, instead it's a game of advertisement more than anything. All of you are poster boys, girls, and they-themers just running around, showing each other your guns that you bought, or maybe your skins for your characters too. And in actuality, the match itself doesn't really matter. It's just a sham. It's an excuse for you all to be there. Instead, it's one big advertising tool. Even Marvel Rivals is like this too. Why do you think the game is in third person? Why? Because it's easier to see your opponents? Come on, don't be dumb. It's because the studios behind these games want you and your enemies to see each other's skins. Oh, that guy has that skin I was contemplating on buying but didn't. Maybe I should buy it. I mean, it does look good in game when he's moving. Am I being too cynical here? Actually, not at all, because unfortunately, it gets worse. This brings me to the US patent aptly named US 20160005270A1 as you're seeing on screen here. That's a long name, so I'm just going to call this patent the Bamboozler if you don't mind. So the Bamboozler is a patent that, as it's described here, it's a system and method is provided that drives microtransactions in multiplayer video games. The system may include a microtransaction arranged matches to influence game-related purchases. For instance, the system may match a more expert marquee player with a junior player to encourage the junior player to make game-related purchases of items possessed used by the marquee player. A junior player may wish to emulate the marquee player by obtaining weapons or other items used by the marquee player. So you probably thought, hey, I think he's lying, but nah, son, it's a legit US patent that actually exists in the real world that was patented and is being used at Activision Blizzard in stuff like Call of Duty's Black Ops 6 right now. So this is real, fellas. I'll leave a link in the description box to this patent in case you want to look it over yourselves. And here's an image on screen of the actual layout of how this entire patent works within the video game. Let me read you more about this patent. Here's another excerpt which says, a computer-implemented method of driving microtransactions in a multiplayer game. The method being implemented by a host computer having one or more physical processors programmed with computer-programmed instructions that, when executed by one or more physical processors, causes the host computer to perform the method. The method comprising identifying by the host computer as in-game item that is relevant to a first player but not yet possessed by the first player for gameplay in a multiplayer game. Identifying by the the host computer a second player that possesses the in-game item, and matching by the host computer the first player and the second player to play in a gameplay session. To encourage purchase of the in-game item by the first player, wherein the matching is based on the relevance of the in-game item to the first player and the possession of the in-game item by the second player. So this means it is not by accident that people beating you and killing you in something like Black Ops 6 happen to have all the shiny good-looking guns that you don't have yourselves, and there is now verifiable proof that Activision Blizzard is 100% pairing you with players specifically that spend real-world money on cosmetic bundles that you don't already own. And it's only being done for the reason to gaslight and swindle you into opening your wallet yourselves to buy it instead. And then once you buy it in the shop and get a new skin or gun, you have now become that marquee player, so to speak, who is being forced now into lobbies without you even realizing it to advertise your purchase to other players that were just like you mere minutes ago before you bought that bundle. Like I said, guys, I wish I was kidding, but this is a real patented system that exists and operates within Black Ops 6, and clearly not enough people know about it. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're implementing this to some degree in other games too. Like, I'm not 100% sure if other companies also use this patent, or maybe pay Activision Blizzard to use it, no idea as of right now, but at this point, I really wouldn't be surprised if that were the case as well, because credit where it's due. From a monetization live service angle, yeah, this is kind of genius of them to do. And the workers making you the money are technically the very people who paid you for the game they're playing to push your microtransaction onto other players. It's like the self-checkout of a grocery store, but in video game form. You pick your groceries, you wait in line, you check yourself out, you pay us, then you get the hell out of the store. It's kind of genius, and you didn't even really have to pay anyone a cent to make that money for you there besides the people, I guess, who stock the shelves. And this is the system that is all over Call of Duty and then some, replicating and improving over time, ensuring that every player is being dumped into lobbies to push further advertising. Is it morally gross? Absolutely. But is it effective in making money? Also absolutely. But this is when Steam's new policies are the hero that we didn't know we needed. So in 2024, they started cracking down on publishers like Activision Blizzard, forcing them to be transparent about in-game purchases and refund rights. No more hiding behind vague "you bought it, tough luck" nonsense. If Activision's Black Cell Battle Pass or that shiny $20 skin doesn't deliver as promised, Steam's got your back with clearer refund paths. This comes after years of COD players complaining about misleading bundle descriptions. Remember when Modern Warfare 3 tried to sell us an $80 Beast Glove? Yeah, that was a vibe check that nobody had. Activision support pages are also now littered with warnings about chat sessions and case closures. Like they're bracing for a tsunami of refund requests. They're even having to address bugs like the Gumball Ballistics blueprint blocking aim visibility, because nothing says premium like paying to not see your target. Steam's basically saying to them, tell the truth or we're sending you to the gulag, and honestly, it's about damn time. Steam and Valve by proxy has effectively waged war on ensuring that companies like Activision Blizzard are no longer allowed to just lie or swindle players for their money, and they're pissed. Activision, I mean. Here's what Steam issued as a statement following the misleading use of stuff like artificial intelligence to sell content and swindle players, and yeah, what's said here is a declaration of war, and it reads, back in June, we shared that while our goal continues to be shipping as many games as possible on Steam, we needed some time to learn about the fast-moving and legally murky space of AI technology, specifically given Steam's worldwide reach. Today, after spending the last few months learning more about this space and talking with game developers, we are making changes to how we handle games that use AI technology. This will enable us to release the vast majority of games that use it. First, we are updating the content survey that developers fill out when submitting to Steam. The survey now includes a new AI disclosure section where you'll need to describe how you are using
Which hero do you think you want to be
They
today?
say if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. While more and more millionaires and investors are moving into the city, it's putting a real squeeze on the middle class. Who are having to leave. We look everywhere. We couldn't find anything.
So as more and more millionaires move to New York, the middle class here has fewer and fewer options. And as the middle class struggles with simultaneous cost of living and housing crises, it almost looks as if New York is replacing them with a new and growing rich class, who are the only ones that can afford it here. And the worst part about that is nobody running this place seems to care.
A new study shows that the number of millionaires opting to rent instead of buying property has nearly tripled since 2015.
The number of people making more than $1 million in household income a year who choose to rent instead of buy shot up 171% in just 5 years.
We looked everywhere. We couldn't find anything. I was seeing things on the market for like $4,500. If I wanted to stay even in Bed-Stuy, I mean, this is not Midtown that we're talking about, right? Like, I'm talking about central Brooklyn.
In 2022, people leaving New York at the fastest rate were making less than $172,000 a year. That's according to a report from the Fiscal Policy Institute. We also found that more than a third of those leaving New York State were moving in search of affordable housing.
It's the wealthy moving into the bigger towns. There's no question, right? So the New Yorks, the Chicagos, the Los Angeles, the San Francisco. If you make $200,000, $300,000 a household income, you can't afford to live in the city anymore.
Here's the simple truth that is underneath all of these sobering statistics. We simply have not built enough housing.
So millionaires are moving to New York City in droves, and they're renting up all the available apartments. And none of our elected officials seem to have a problem with this, even though most of them got where they are promising to protect the little guy, who now has to battle $10 milk and other overpriced necessities at the grocery store, only to get crushed by sky-high rents when he walks into his apartment after a long day of work, earning a paycheck that evaporates before the direct deposit even hits. And even if you've got a six-figure income of, say, $150,000, that's going to be whittled down to around $36,000 of spending power after you pay your rent and buy your food. Which is insane because in most of America, highly skilled professionals with six-figure incomes are just fine. But here they're barely hanging on, living in tiny one-room apartments without the ability to start families or even live with someone who isn't their roommate, as many depend on others they barely know to split rent in overpriced apartments or go homeless. And that brings us to the real reason the middle class here is being forced out. They won't build new apartments for these new millionaires. They're just gonna come into town and rent whatever everyone else has been renting, forcing prices to go through the roof, literally. Because we're in a housing crisis with only around 1.4% of apartments even available to be rented. Sure, these buildings are hundreds of years old and are falling apart, but with the $4,000 a month average rents they're able to fetch, New York City's dwindling housing stock is quickly disappearing as wealthy renters take over. But as you're about to see, just because you're a millionaire and you come here and rent an apartment, well, that doesn't mean you're gonna get to live like one.
You're ready for action. Squids are blessed. Now we're Hawkeye's down. More back strength. Who needs power up? You're ready for action. Low-key call. Someone scratch my back.
Yeah, I don't think this is a problem normal people will run into. Open court for a date season. This is a one-bedroom apartment and they rent $5,000 a month. Well, $49.95 is the asking rent. So you can pay an extra $5 a month if you want to. But the thing is, we're in a part of town right now that is too expensive for middle class renters. Even though this place is very nice, so it's probably going to rent quickly. The person who rented it probably be someone.
Maximum pulse!
There's 45% growth in millionaires in the last decade here, despite dire predictions during the pandemic of the rich fleeing New York. While more and more millionaires and investors are moving into the city, it's putting a real squeeze on the middle class, who are willing to
New York City's experienced a massive rise in the number of millionaires living here, but as we're going to see today, it hasn't experienced a massive rise in the number of And that's certainly not the fault of this landlord. He already owns his building and renovated his apartment. But since the city restricts the supply of apartments by not letting anybody do anything, the prices on the places that are available keep going up. And in this type of situation, everyone loses. Well, that is some water pressure right there. And for $5 a month, you might feel like a 5-star hotel. Apartments like this, First of all,
it's a one-bedroom apartment. How many people are you gonna live here with? And second of all, even if you move in this year and you can afford the rent, what's gonna happen next year? It could go up, and then you'll be living out on the streets.
That is not a pigeon, because according to at least with the prices of these apartments going up, the pigeons have been replaced with something that is more peaceful.
Dana Dennis was born and raised in Brooklyn, and together with her husband, they make over $100,000 a year, but had to move to New Jersey after having their first child. They say they couldn't afford a two-bedroom anywhere they wanted to live.
I was seeing things on the market for like $4,500. If I wanted to stay even in Bed-Stuy, I mean, this is not Midtown that we're talking about, right? Like, I'm talking about Central Brooklyn.
And she's not the only one. In 2022, people...
So this family, they're succeeding by all accounts. This city doesn't have support for people who succeed.
This is real! Even the rich people that are renting these places.
No, the real problem is that New York is a city where local laws are not amenable to the construction of new buildings. And that's why you don't have new buildings. You have old buildings that look new inside, but aren't brand new. That's part of the problem.
And the other part of this problem is that many people who are rich, they don't want to buy property around here like they used to. This article features a quote from a guy who's a millionaire, and he pays $19,000 a month because he's disappointed in what he could buy with his millions.
And not everybody wants to take millions of dollars and dump it into something that's just going to either lose value or cost them more money as a primary residence than renting something and just paying a one-time fee. Taxes, maintenance, nothing, you just pay the rent, that's it.
But even though the rich might be surviving and complaining about it, as you're about to see,
this housing crisis we've got going on here, it's too much for the middle class, and many people, sadly, have to leave the city altogether.
2022, people leaving New York at the fastest rate were making less than $172,000 a year. That's according to a report from the Fiscal Policy Institute. They also found that more than a third of those leaving New York State were moving in search of affordable housing.
Ion turret, photon reaction, chain gun, mini black hole.
Then you're gonna have to go somewhere else and find it. That's how it works. We're in a housing crisis. We aren't building new stuff.
look out the window here. Is this charming? Is this quaint? Absolutely. But what's not charming or quaint are the fact that these 5-story buildings are forcing people to live elsewhere. And if the only kind of buildings we're allowed to have here are the ones that were built over 100 years ago, or are replacement buildings that come in and are also 5 stories, you're never going to have enough room for the number of people that want to live here. And although that might protect neighborhoods like this one from skyscrapers,
while protecting the high prices of apartments from getting any lower, of everybody.
You're welcome. New York City's Mayor Eric Adams has a City of Yes plan, enticing developers to address the worst housing crunch in 5 decades, expected to enable tens of thousands of new units over the next 15 years. But that wasn't in time for Sasha, who also just couldn't make it work anymore.
So there are plans out there to create tens of thousands of new apartments.
Us against the world. Experts are saying we need hundreds of thousands of apartments. Right here, 560,000 apartments. This isn't going to happen. Vacant prices are just going to keep going up.
Which means the entire housing crisis in this city is only going to get worse. And that's at a best case scenario. All because the people who could pass laws to do something about this don't seem interested in doing it.
And frighteningly of all the plans that are on the table right now to fix New York City's housing crisis, well, they might just end up making it worse.
I'll patch you up. This is real firepower!
That building across the street, it's only 3 stories. You've got the top floor, the middle floor, and then that's the door. This is the problem with our housing crisis. We have 3-story buildings. Why? The obvious answer is it's illegal to put anything else here if this place ever were to fall down, which it looks like it might in the near future. It's old. Everything here's old. But the reason it all looks like this is because these buildings are irreplaceable.
And that's because whatever buildings we have today are going to resemble whatever buildings we have tomorrow. That's the law. Changing it would be the simple solution to our housing problems, but the problem is the people who are running for mayor, well, let's just say this isn't on their radar at all.
Let's build affordable housing for members of the community.
Leaning into his experience
months as both governor of New York and former HUD secretary, Andrew Cuomo rolled out his housing plan, but others running for mayor were quick to pounce once the plan was posted online. There were grammatical issues, and this footnote appears to reference the use of ChatGPT to locate an article on rent stabilized.
Oh boy, I don't know if that plan's gonna work, and he's